So I chose this picture instead of doing a picture of him because fuck him. We're gonna be discussing the Travis Scott Astroworld incident. It's not really like true crime, but
It totally is. It
a
really is.
crime happened. Something happened. Nobody wants to take responsibility for it. It's kind of like a fucking crazy thing if you really get into it. But there is like a lot of speculation and misinformation, so you can't get your information from TikTok. You need to do your own research on this and watch the documentary. Like the documentary is really like a beautiful thing. They put a lot of effort into it. There's a lot of evidence in it. Like it's it was a beautiful, beautiful masterpiece. And so, okay, let me start. So on November 5th of 2021, Travis Scott, he held like this music festival and he called it Astroworld. And it claimed the lives of 10 people. So it was his third annual festival. The first one started in 2018 and then it was 2019 and it was supposed to happen in 2020, but it was delayed because of COVID. And so it ended up happening in 2021. It got postponed. And he partnered with Live Nation to make it happen, right? And so they sold 50,000 tickets before they had even had a venue. They didn't pick a venue yet. And that's a detail that they add into the documentary. Nobody talks about that on TikTok, but when you do your information, it's online and it's in the documentary. So they picked their venue, or they sold their tickets and then they picked the venue. So the venue that they ended up going with was NRG Park in Houston, Texas. It's a stadium. And they used the outside of it. So the inside has a capacity of 72,000 people, and the outside could safely host around 35. Because, mind you, Astroworld was a music festival, but you guys could correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't do like too much into the festival and more of like the incident. But the festival had other artists. I believe it had rides. I believe it had like food. It's kind of like a state fair, but like with performers. If any of you guys have been to like your state fair. Um, so the outside venue could safely host 35,000 people. They were oversold by 15,000 people, and 5,000 people jumped the fences and snuck into the park. And so before I discuss more into it, I do want to talk about the vibe of Astroworld because the general vibe of Astroworld was go crazy, go stupid. And that was his fan group is literally called Ragers. If anybody didn't know that, Travis Scott's fan group is called Ragers. Um so the promotion video that they used, and they even said this in the documentary because I watched the documentary. The promotion video that they used was from 2019, and it was when they were like jumping in to get to the concert. People were sneaking in, they were doing crazy stuff. And so one of the videos that I do remember watching, I'll have to see if I can pull it up on my computer here, is a video of them storming the front of the front gates. Like people were piling on top of each other. The gates that were like holding the sides of it, they were coming down because there were so many people that were entering. I read somewhere, I believe it was either on Wikipedia or in an article, that only 37,700 and something tickets were actually scanned at the event. So let me go back to my thing. Yeah, so he had this like go crazy, go stupid fucking mentality of how he wanted Astroworld to go. Travis's set, he wasn't scheduled to go on until 8:45 p.m., but Travis Scott, he started performing at 9:06 p.m. So about like 5 to 10 minutes into his set is when the crowd to begin to surge forward. And when you're in a crowd, or in like what they call a mosh pit, it stops becoming like, usually when you're in a crowd, you have space to put your arm out. You have space to touch the person in front of you, the space to touch the person behind you. And this crowd, these people, it was kind of like a liquid. Like the way the crowd was moving was a liquid because they were so tightly packed together. And it was crazy. So they were experiencing crowd crush. There was repeated attempts to stop the show. They were ignored and they just weren't seen. I kind of watched a few videos before I went live because I was giving Travis a little bit of the benefit of the doubt until I saw a video when he started his show and he says, "Oh, I see you guys in the back. Like, I see you guys," because they were like moshing and he was trying to like recognize them. And so he was like, "Oh, I see you guys back there." And so when he was up there on top performing 90210, which is the song that he was performing when somebody was unconscious and were being dragged out of the crowd, a lot of Travis Scott's fans were trying to say that he could not see what was going on. He couldn't tell what was going on in the crowd. He had no idea, that he couldn't hear, which I couldn't hear. I'll give him that. Any person, I mean, we're not going to know because we don't perform, but you cannot hear. That is why they have those headphones in, so that they can like hear the backtracking of their vocals so they can perform. So I can give him the benefit of that. He probably did not hear them screaming for help, but not seeing them, no, he had to have seen them. So there was an individual who was in the documentary. I believe his name was Aiden. I could be wrong on that. He was in the documentary and he got one on one of the camera platforms and he had tried to get people's attention to stop the show. And so when he was up there, videos actually went viral from when the incident happened of him screaming, "People are dying," and arguing with concert goers. And people that were at the concert that weren't in the crowd crush, that were kind of just enjoying it, were telling him to stop. They were telling him to shut up. They were telling him it's not that serious. And he was arguing back. And he even said in the documentary he started to feel alone and like people weren't on his side until another girl actually spoke up and said, "Yeah, people are being crushed down there. They're dying. Like, that's somebody's kid. That's somebody's baby." And they still didn't pay attention to him. He ended up getting off the platform. And the show was actually stopped a total of 3 times by Travis. So he stopped twice for people that were passed out. And he stopped once when he noticed an ambulance in the back. And the most memorable time of when he stopped the show was when he stopped during his song of 90210 to bring attention to somebody being carried out while they were unconscious. The person that was carried out, they had to have CPR on them. It's unclear if the person was one of the victims. Their face was blurred, so I'm not sure. In the articles, there's a lot of information that's there, but a lot of information that's there is also vague. So it's unclear if that person was one of the victims. Travis continued to ad-lib and he kept his song going. If anybody's heard that video, they know what I'm talking about when he's like, yeah, with his auto-tune just going while that person is having CPR done on them. There are multiple videos circulating around times when it was silent between his songs and you can hear the screaming for help. There was even a video that Apple Music posted, and it was their like professional thing of like they had somebody come in and film it because they had a lot of photographers there. There was even a photographer that was in the documentary, and she had even said, "My career is going to go down for this, but I gotta stand up for what's right." So they had like a professional camera crew there. They did their own thing, and in that video you can hear people when they stop for shows, or when they stop for the songs, the screaming for help. And then I have like a whole paragraph here of what crowd crush is. So crowd crush, it's a dangerous situation where a large number of people are packed together in a confined space. It causes them to be unable to move. It like leads to injuries and fatalities due to compressive asphyxiation. It's characterized by like a lack of physical space for individuals to breathe or move. And it's often from a combination of high crowd density and people pushing against each other. So the primary cause of injury and unaliving is compressive asphyxia. And it's where the pressure of the crowd restricts the lungs and prevents proper breathing. So pushing and shoving can create a domino effect and cause more people to fall, and it further exacerbates the situation and the crush. So it's very different from a stampede, because a stampede is sudden, and like a crowd crush is, it's kind of just, it happens, like it's accumulating, like it takes a minute to get to that point, but a stampede happens all at once. I do have a couple pictures of like the stage. So for example, this is the stage. Let me flip my camera so I can point my finger. So for example, right here was where they were getting crushed at. So they were like getting piled up in these corners, and that was the biggest problem. Let me show another picture where it's a little more zoomed in. So this is where it's a little more zoomed in. Oh, my camera's flipped. Why? It's like, what the hell? So yeah, so they're piling up here. I think there was people right here too. And it was just, and this is like an actual photo of the overview of like all the clothes, shoes, and things and items that were left behind from the victims and the crowd and stuff. Okay.
How many victims were there again?
10 of them, and I do have a picture of all of the victims, and it has their names and ages on them. So this is one of the first victims. Her friend is the one that got on the camera platform trying to tell people that she was passing, and they just didn't listen. So unfortunately, she didn't make it out of the situation. Not everybody's family was comfortable being in the documentary, so some of the stories we unfortunately don't know. Rudy Pena, his family was in the documentary. It was unfortunate because his 3 friends had went to the Astroworld in 2019 and Rudy didn't go, and so when Astroworld 2021 was happening, Rudy really wanted to go, and so they all went for him, and the 3 of them made it, but Rudy didn't. And in the documentary, his mother doesn't speak any English, but it's very heartbreaking because she says, "What am I supposed to tell my heart and my soul? Like, you're not supposed to bury your children." So it's very heartbreaking. This is little Ezra. He was 9 years old, and a lot of people wonder. I even had to remind my boyfriend, because he even asked. He said, "Why was their kids there? Who lets their kid go to a Travis Scott concert?" At the time, Travis Scott was catering to kids a lot. Like, he was in the Fortnite. He did a Fortnite collaboration, and he did the McDonald's and Cactus Jack collaboration too, because of Fortnite. And so that was like catering to kids, because you get like your little Cactus Jack toy. Ezra passed because of the concert, but did not pass at the concert. Ezra had passed after a coma. It was very heartbreaking. And then again, these are the victims that their stories weren't really told in the documentary, but they still matter. Like, it's still very, very, very heartbreaking. So this is Madison. This is John. He was only 14. He was only 27. Danish. I don't know how to pronounce that, so. It's the Astroworld documentary. It's on Netflix, made by Trainwreck is the company. It's a really good documentary. It's like an hour and a half, a little less than an hour and a half. Jacob, he was only 20. Franco, he was only 21. And she was also the other victim that had passed after the concert, not during the concert. And she was only 22. He was only 21.
A lot of them are really young. Like, a lot of them are in their 20s.
Mm-hmm. They were very, very young, yes. Mm-hmm. So the youngest pictures to show too. This was what somebody's phone looked like when they fell into the crowd. People could say this is a lie. I do kind of believe it. This is what their phone had looked like after they had fell. And they say that their phone was in their pocket too. So that's what's crazy to me. This is, you kind of got to turn your phone to the side a little bit, so I apologize. So this is the stage. Let me, hold on. So I can have my finger here. So this is where his stage was, and then we have the left and the right side from earlier, like I was talking about. And so a lot of people say, when you look at the TikTok comments, they'll say, oh, there was one side that was having fun and there was one side that was suffering. That was because when they came into his set, they all had to approach from the left side. And so there were thousands of people that were jamming into this corner. And so by the time they got into this corner, this one was packed. And this one was more loose than this side. So that's why this side had more crush injuries than this side. This, I did take like direct screenshots from different TikToks, so that's why it looks like that. This is a direct quote from what they told the audio engineer, because the audio engineer is the only person that is allowed to speak in Travis's ear. And so this is the transcript of what they told him. It was, we have 4 active CPRs going on who are most likely DEAD. It is very, very bad. There are more crush victims than I have ever seen in my 25-year career. I know what we're doing is super like serious right now, but I gotta take a minute to address it. Billy Bob Thornton, if you really think that I didn't see you come in here, fucking Andy, get the fuck out of here. I'm so serious. Get the fuck out of here. You want to speak on me when we're doing something serious, true crime, when I'm trying to bring awareness on some shit that ain't even about you? And you come in here for what, bro? We don't like you. Go away. Yeah, if you think I'm not watching the fucking comments, I'm watching. So
I was just sitting here trying to get that sticker to fucking work, to go big.
no, I don't want any part of this, damn
What
it.
happened? I finally got it working. Okay, no, we're good. No, you good. You do
Oh
you,
my
boo-boo.
god.
I don't care.
I saw that name, I was like, dude, you did not just come in here. Like, oh my god, I can't.
You need to stay out. Yeah, they all need to stay out.
Just go. Oh my god. Anyways, back to what we're like doing. This was part of the direct transcript. I have another screenshot. We have to have a discussion in Travis's ears, letting him know what's going on. There's no transcript. There's no like audio. We have no confirmation of what was said between the audio engineer and Travis. But he did briefly kind of not stop his show, but slowed it down a little bit. And in the documentary, they had even mentioned that there was direct contact between the Live Nation manager and Houston PD. Sorry, I was trying to remember the city that it was at. Houston PD. So it was yes. So I'm trying to explain, like, he kind of stalled a little bit, like, he was talking to the crowd, he was giving, like, a little montage, is kind of what I mean by, that was, like, the clip that they had showed in the documentary. We could talk about that afterwards, after we're done doing true crime, guys. And so basically, they had a conversation, Live Nation and Houston PD, to give them more time because Drake was coming on stage. I'm doing this part from memory, and not my information that I had to go and look up and correct myself. I do want to get into the misinformation before I get into the lawsuit and all that stuff. So
I think you keep breaking up, Aries.
my Wi-Fi has been telling me, it's been giving me those red bars. Hold on. Let me drop and come back.
Okay. And then yes, I have spoken to Megan. I just haven't been able to get with her for a date yet. I've kind of been off this week. Give Aries a chance to get back up here. There we go.
Oh shit, okay.
And then I'll expand you back up. There you go.
Okay, so let me get my picture back.
Sorry, everybody. She was breaking up. She was gonna... There we go.
Okay, I'm just gonna use this picture for now. So there's a lot of misinformation, speculation, and just straight up conspiracy theories that are happening with this. So, and me and you had even talked about this yesterday, kind of when I was telling you about this. So I'm actually going to be correcting those details that I was telling you about. So one misinformation was that 10 to 15,000 people snuck in. People have said that there was 65,000 people there. There was a 55,000 person confirmed total. So it was 50,000 people that had paid for tickets, 37,000 tickets, well, almost 38,000 tickets that were actually scanned, and then 5,000 people had snuck in unticketed. Another misinformation was that the show only lasted 21 minutes. That's what I had heard. His set actually lasted an hour and 4 minutes. So his set started at 9:06 p.m. and it ended at Wikipedia doesn't really say. It says that the last song started at 10:08 between him and Drake, and then the set ended. So it's speculated that his set ended 10:10, 10:20. It's not really a case, but we're talking about the Astroworld incident. So yeah, his set lasted actually an hour and 4 minutes. And then another misinformation, which is it was being spread in the media a lot, was that people were going around and injecting things into people's necks, and that's why people had unalived. Sorry, I was talking to my boyfriend. And so a security guard had claimed that he became unconscious after feeling a prick to his neck, and so police initially thought that magic of a cord occurred. However, that was very quickly ruled out because there was zero evidence of it, and the security's story was very inconsistent. He had actually got hit in the head and fell unconscious. So, there was speculation. There's speculation that more than 10 people unalived, and that there was a huge cover-up. People who were there, who experienced Astroworld firsthand, say that they saw hundreds of bodies trampled on, and that it's speculated that their unalivings didn't count, quote unquote, because they were unticketed and had passed after the event in the hospitals. For example, if the person had rugs in their system, it was ruled that they unalive due to the rugs and not the crowd crush. However, there's zero evidence really to support that, so I'm gonna just count that under speculation / conspiracy theory. And then the biggest conspiracy theory was that a ritual had took place. Yes, that's what a lot of the comments were saying in the TikTok videos that I was seeing. Was that's why I put it under like speculation, that they had theories, if you had that in your system, that it was an accident and not like the crowd crush. But yes, the biggest conspiracy theory was that it was a ritual. So this is why I actually have the see ya on the other side as the picture too. So there's really no denying that his set had like negative energy and vibes, but for me that's like kind of the only thing I can agree with. Some people believe his set was like a sacrificial ritual, and that his stage was an upside down cross, which brings me back to that picture I had put earlier. This part is highlighted here in yellow, which shows that it's an upside down cross. I just want to clarify, I am not condoning this conspiracy theory. I don't believe in it. I believe that they unalived due to crowd crush because they were severely negligent in handling this big crowd. I don't believe that it was a ritual that happened. I just want to tell you guys what the internet is saying. So yeah, they a sacrificial ritual, that it was an upside down cross. There's another claim that Travis had 8 flames in front of his stage and that 8 people unalived at his concert. There was another claim from a Reddit user who said that the music that they played before his set came on, because mind you, they had to walk to different parts of like the sound, or not the sound stage, but different parts of the festival. And so SZA had wrapped up and they go and they walk to Travis's set. And so the girl had said, because it was a girl, that when they were walking to Travis's set, that the beat in the background sounded like a heartbeat of somebody if they were having a panic attack, if that makes sense. And that she had tried to ignore it, but that it just was really off-putting and like gave them a panicky vibe, and it just made them want to leave. Let me see if I have another picture. Oh, this is you can see everybody's got their phone lights on, and then there's just this big portion of the crowd back there that there's no lights. You can tell that like there's just something wrong that had happened here. And then the lawsuit and like responsibility and all that. Basically, everybody that was involved, they didn't really want to take responsibility. They tried to blame each other. Houston PD tried to blame Live Nation. Live Nation blamed Houston PD, especially after the video surfaced of the Houston officer standing in front of the stage, in front of Travis's stage, where they were supposed to be there for security reasons. However, they were caught taking pictures and videos of Travis instead of watching the crowd. And I actually watched that video myself. Of them trying to like get videos and pictures of the crowd. It's sad. Because people were screaming for help and the officers were more concerned about getting a picture with Travis in the background. Travis took no responsibility for it. He said he had no idea of it being that bad. I read somewhere allegedly that Travis and Drake went out to eat after their set, and only during their meals did they realize the gravity of the situation and found out that people had unalived during the concert and had left the restaurant shortly after that. I do want to play. I don't think like showing the video actually matters, but I'm gonna play the audio of his apology video so you guys can hear his apology. Okay.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me.
It's buffering for some reason, sorry.
No worries. Give her a second, y'all. She's got the audio button.
My fans.
I know, right? Okay, hold on. I'm letting it load.
Really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need, I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department. HPD.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe give it a second to load all the way, and then you could just restart it. Maybe.
Hold on, 1 second.
No, you're fine.
It's even telling me now that
I know your internet. I know you guys had that storm yesterday too, so your internet might be a little wonky.
I don't even think I told you guys. I gotta send you guys the picture. When my boyfriend was coming home last night, they passed by somebody and there was a tree that had fell in somebody's car.
Oh, damn. I hope they're okay.
Oh yeah, I'll have to share the picture with you guys. It was crazy. It looks like it didn't hit anybody's house though, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good. It sucks though that it hit their car. Storm damage is never fun.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's gonna play.
Uh-oh. You there? I can now, yeah. You just keep coming in and out a little, but it it like catches up with it pretty quick. Do you want to send me the audio clip and I can play it from my side of the video you're trying to play? Okay. Okay. No worries. I just figured I can help you in that way at least. Give her 1 second, guys. She's gonna send me that video, and then that way I can play it on my end. So that way we don't have to worry about her buffering. How's everybody doing tonight? She's talking about Astroworld, by the way, if anybody hasn't caught on to what she's speaking about. Just a heads up.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know none of us can hear her in the chat.
Yeah, she's not talking right
We only
now.
hear you. Well, no, before when you were asking her questions.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
just
can hear her when I'm in a box, but I don't know if they can hear her.
Aries. Mama, will you message her and let her know that nobody could hear her? And I'll go ahead and do mine, and then if her Wi-Fi gets better, we can have her come back. She can redo it if she wants. But I'll go ahead, I'll do my story, and then that way Aries can get her stuff together, and then we'll see if her Wi-Fi gets any better in that time period. So, okay. So Aries is doing like a really great job. I do want to say that. She told me all about this yesterday, and I didn't really know anything about it. So I definitely want her to be able to get it out there. So if she needs to come back up and she wants to like retell everything, we can do that. So, all right, I'm going to talk about Cindy James. So Cindy James was born in 1944, and she was a very smart, kind, independent nurse who worked with emotionally disturbed children. She had a very calm, nurturing demeanor. She was married to a psychologist who was Dr. Roy Makepeace for over 15 years, but they ended up divorcing in 1982. And she isn't the kind of person that a lot of people who knew Cindy said she's not the kind of person that you would expect a true crime story to kind of revolve around, which is why this story is so intriguing, because there's many different facets that go into the entire situation. So shortly after she divorced her husband, these phone calls started, and she told her friends and family that she felt as if somebody was watching her, calling her house, whispering threats, hanging up, and it really turned into 7 years of terror for Cindy. So it wasn't just phone calls. It turned into break-ins, vandalism. There were unaliving threats and some seriously just disturbing incidences that Cindy experienced. Where her porch lights would be smashed, her phone lines were cut dozens of times. And one time she came home and she actually found her pillowcase had been slashed, her sheets were ripped open, and a lot of her furniture had been overturned. And one of the more horrifying parts of this is that her dog, which was a collie named Heidi, was found in her backyard and it had been unalived with a rope. And with the dog, it had a note that said, "You're next." So she went to the police, and there were over 100 incidences in total that she reported to the police. But they were never able to find anything. They couldn't find fingerprints. There was no evidence of forced entry to the home. There were no suspects. Like, they just, nobody knew what the fuck was going on. So eventually, as Cindy keeps going and telling them, look, this is happening, this is what's going on, the police stopped believing her and started to tell her family that they thought she was doing this to herself and that there may be a mental health crisis going on. So, could Cindy have had a mental health crisis? Possibly. She was under extreme stress. She'd been through a divorce. She'd even admitted to the hospital that she had anxiety more than one time. But there were parts of her entire case that make the entire situation just very confusing. Some of these incidences would almost be impossible for her to have done alone. So if she did them, it would have been extremely difficult for her to have completed the task without somebody having been there with her. So, for example, one night, Cindy was found in her basement unconscious. There was a nylon stocking that was tied tightly around her neck, and her furniture was scattered around the place. There was a jib-jab that had been left on the floor, and she could not remember a single thing as to what had happened, but she was clearly terrified. And then there was another time where she was found in a car parked in a neighborhood that she had no clue where this neighborhood was. She had never been there. She didn't know it. And she had needle marks in her arms because she had been injected with sedatives. And so it was kind of on the fence, like, did she do this? Did she not do this? The thing is much like the basement where they had found her unconscious in her own basement, there was another nylon stocking around her neck. And she could not remember how she got there. The car was hers, the purse was hers, but she was terrified because nobody's believing her. So the ditch incident really sticks out a lot to many people because she was found by another individual semi-conscious in a ditch one day. And she was about 6 miles from her home. Her hands and her feet were tied behind her back. So she clearly, this would have been next to impossible for her to have done by herself. She was bruised, she had cuts, and she had that nylon stocking wrapped around her throat again. She was wearing a man's work boot on one foot and had a glove on one hand. But when she was asked how, hey, how'd you get here? She, again, like the car, could not tell anybody how she managed to end up in the ditch. And the question is with the police not believing her and the police telling her family that they think this is her basically doing this to herself and her victimizing herself because she's having a mental health crisis for some reason. The question is, how do you do this to yourself? Especially if you've drugged yourself with sedatives. How do you manage to do this in a way where you keep being found alive? And because if it was a attempted schmuicide, which they never found it was, why is she going to such lengths to stage this? So she ended up hiring a private investigator named Ozzy Caban, and he instantaneously believed her. He said there was a stalker that she had, and he even heard strange phone calls himself that were coming into Cindy. There were whispered voices, threats, and he said that in his perception of Cindy, she was terrified beyond words. And at one point, she actually had confided in him and said, I know who it is, but I'm too afraid to tell. If I do, it'll get worse. So, worse than being rugged, dumped in a ditch, tied up, almost unalived, waking up with nylon stockings wrapped around your neck. You're kind of like, what? But basically, May of 1989, so about 7 years after all of this had started going on with Cindy, and she's experienced this terror, like, for years, she had started to behave differently. It was like she knew that something was going to happen to her and that time was kind of running out and she wasn't going to be here much longer. So she mailed birthday cards to friends and family weeks earlier than they were needed to be mailed out. She wrapped gifts. She gave her roommates things to pass on to her parents. It was kind of almost like she was trying to tie up loose ends because she just expected that she was going to need to do that sooner rather than later. And on May 25th, 1989, Cindy just vanished. And they found her car in a shopping mall parking lot. Inside the car were some groceries, wrapped up gifts, and a wallet. And the driver's side door had blood smeared on it. The trunk, there was a pair of men's gloves that had been found, and for 2 weeks, nobody could find her. So May 25th, 1989, Cindy went missing. She was just gone. Like, they found her car, they can't find her. On June 8th, a road worker was working, and they noticed something strange in a yard behind an abandoned house. So they decided that they would go check out what it was, and when they got to the yard, they realized that it was a body. And so they call 911, police come out, and it turns out that it is Cindy's body. She is on her side, she's laying in the fetal position, and her hands, much like when she had been found in the ditch, were tied behind her back with a rope, as well as her feet. And the knots that had been utilized were very complex, which means that it's next to impossible that Cindy was the one that tied herself up at this point. And the way they were described were kind of like boating knots, like maritime rigging. And she had been injected with some type of sedative like morphine, and it was enough to unalive her. She was also wearing a man's jacket. Her shoes were neatly placed nearby her body, and there was no needle anywhere. So if you think about it, she's injected this sedative into herself. The needle probably shouldn't be too far away because you obviously are running on limited time once you've injected yourself with that. So the fact that they couldn't find the needle was a really big thing. And it makes you wonder too, because a lot of like the things in the past, did they not find needles before? Because they kept saying they think Cindy did this to herself, but then going back and looking at it, it's like, well, what about the time she was found in her car where she clearly had been injected with a sedative? So the official ruling, and this is where it gets really insane, is that Cindy's unaliving was ruled a unaliving by undetermined causes. They didn't rule it a schmuicide. They didn't rule it a homicide. They just basically said, well, we don't know what happened, and they've not been able to figure it out. So I kind of wanted to dive into the theories of several ideas of what had happened. The police's favorite theory is that she did it all to herself and she's a victim of her own mental health. They have proclaimed that she staged all of the events for attention, that she rugged herself, she tied herself up, and eventually, in a very dramatic act, unalived herself. Keep in mind, though, they can't tell you why there's no needle around the body. So here are the issues with that theory. Tying your hands and your feet behind your back in complex knots while overdosing yourself with morphine sounds extremely difficult. Like, I cannot imagine having injected yourself with morphine and then being able to get your feet and your arms in a position where you can at least like basic knot them, let alone a complex knot. Since there was no needle around her when it happened, the house that she was found out, this abandoned house, was over about a mile away from her home. So her car wasn't around. So she would have had to have theoretically injected herself with morphine, walked a mile, tied herself up, and then that's where she would have unalived. And again, still no needle. So there's no syringe, there's no tools, there's no evidence that she even brought like anything with her. And granted, it's not impossible, like to say that it's fully impossible. There's a thin line, but it's the fact that it's barely plausible that she could have done this to herself. Like, it's highly unlikely. Her family, on the other hand, believes that she was murdered, and her friends also believe this as well too. Her private investigator, Ozzy Caban, was 100% convinced that she had a stalker. He said she was being targeted and just psychologically broken down over time, and it wasn't helping that the police that she was going to weren't listening to her. They were just saying, well, you need to get help. The most obvious suspect to a lot of people is her ex-husband, Dr. Roy Makepeace, and she had accused him of being abusive towards her. So that would lend some credibility to the fact that he may have been the person who harmed her. He was a psychiatrist, and some believe that he may have used his knowledge to manipulate her and make her appear unstable to the point that nobody would believe her that these things were happening, and spend the next 7 years torturing her out of her fucking mind before she eventually was unalived. There, however, was no proof. There's no confession, and despite like looking into him, there's really no motive outside of just speculating why he might have wanted her to unalive. But there's really no definitive, like, here's why he would have wanted to do it. So no charges were ever followed up with him. And one of the darker theories that I was able to find was that Cindy was coerced, or she had assisted unaliving, and that someone had basically stalked Cindy for years, not to unalive her so much as to ruin her, to break her spirit, to gaslight her, to make her feel like she was going crazy and just spiraling out of control, and fear for her life until she was so desperate and hopeless that the only escape she saw was to take her own life. And when that time came that she felt like it was the only way to like find peace in the world, some people speculate that she may have had somebody help her, which is why you can't find a needle in this entire story, where the police choose to kind of ignore it and say, well, she did this to herself. Some people have speculated that maybe she had somebody help her because she just couldn't take all of the fear and the torment anymore. Kind of like almost the perfect setup. However, going back to Cindy, before she passed away, Cindy had told people, quote, "I'm going to be unalived and it's going to look like schmooicide." And that's exactly what happened. The case was closed. The police were done. No one has ever been held responsible for what happened to her. And Cindy, who had begged for 7 years, she needed help at some level, passed away exactly how she said she would. Not being believed, in fear, alone, and in a manner that looked like it was schmuicide. So I thought that this was a really good case to visit, because it's one of those situations where I think we get desensitized the more that something happens. We just kind of are like, okay, well, you know, how many times is this going to happen before somebody starts to question, like, is it them? But the more you look at this in the totality of it, it's kind of like she was written off from the beginning because there was just no proof to ever show who did it to her. And to this day, it doesn't really feel like anybody's ever taken it seriously enough to dive past the concept of if Cindy did it to herself and why would somebody have wanted to do this to her. I personally, in my opinion, think that her husband had something to do with it. As a psychologist, there's a lot of mind games, like the cutting her phone lines, the phone calls with the whispered voices that even her private investigator said that he heard and that freaked her out a lot. The fact that she's found up multiple times tied up, clinging to life with a nylon stocking wrapped around her neck, and that when they found her on the final instance and she had these complex ropes, or knots on the ropes that held her feet and hands behind her back, it just points to almost someone having played a game with her in her life. And the most plausible suspect in all of that, based on everything that I've been able to read and look up, would be her husband. However, everything is just a theory at this point because, again, the police really did Cindy wrong. So, that's my case tonight. I just thought I kind of have a theme, I think, going where it's either unsolved or kind of like an injustice was done. So I really felt like this one fit that theme because at the end of the day, it's all about when do you believe somebody and when do you not believe somebody. And sadly, even when they're presented with the evidence that there's no needle around, and she would have had to have walked a mile from her own home to even plausibly have possibly, if there was a needle at her home, do all of this to herself is insane. Yeah, we all have themes going, right? So that is my case. I'm curious what everybody else thinks. Do you think she was crazy? Do you think that something else was going on with her? Give me 1 second. Margaret needs water. Don't be so needy, Margaret. You've had water all day. Okay, hold on. Don't look at me like that. Okay, don't do that. Okay, okie dokie. I'm coming. There you go. Yeah, okay. I can't remember. Let me see real quick. I don't remember seeing anything about that, honestly. So, okay. He was reportedly a former South African military doctor before immigrating to Canada, where he became a psychiatrist. This detail has fueled speculation in some true crime circles, who believe Cindy was the victim of an organized or calculated psychological campaign, possibly involving manipulation tactics or mind games that someone with his experience might understand. So I don't know what the statute of limitations is in Canada, but he had at one point claimed Cindy was unstable and provided police with a voicemail on his machine where he was being threatened, and that's used a lot by people who were saying that she could have been faking it the whole time. But he did have kind of that military experience involved, which would, now that like I know that, lend a little bit more of a theory towards he had done it, because he would have had a possible experience with time complex knots. Yeah, he was a person of interest, but the police were never able to tie him to anything. So the thing about it was, everything that happened to Cindy, even down to her dog being unalived and the note that had been left next to the dog saying, like, you're next, there was never any, like, evidence to point towards anybody. And so the more that things were happening, the more the police just kind of wrote her off and said it was basically her doing it to herself because she had mental health concerns. So, yeah. It's a really interesting case. I would really highly recommend that you look more into it too, because it's just 7 years of torture that this woman went through. And, you know, people are finding her in her basement tied up, and in her car tied up miles away from her home, and in the backyard of an abandoned house tied up and unalived. And the police just kind of couldn't find anything to support anything at all, so they just basically blamed her for everything that happened. And I feel like that's kind of what happens to a lot of women throughout history, is when something isn't easily explained, we get blamed. Sadly. So yeah. Aries, are you wanting to try again on yours, or is your internet working better? I think she's still in here. Okay, it's up to you. If you want to try again, like, I mean, I think yours is really intriguing. I think people really should hear it. I hate that your internet's not working the best tonight, because you deserve to have that one heard. Literally, like, Aries told me all about this one yesterday, and she, like, had so much information on it. She'd done, like, such a deep dive. Hello!
I was giving it a minute because it's still got that gray shit where it's waiting for it to buffer, so hold on.
Okay.
If it needs to buffer, I'm gonna just let it buffer, but my internet should be working a lot better now, so.
I can
Okay.
send, if you send it too, I can play it
Oh,
for you.
shit, yeah, I forgot I was supposed to. Oh my god, I don't think, okay? Ma'am.
It's totally fine. I'm not, like, saying anything bad.
Okay,
But I'm just saying, if you want, I can play it on my end.
I'm about to send it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna just put it in here.
And then if you want to give, like, a synopsis of what we're about to listen to, that way people kind of know where we left off for you.
Okay, so my apologies. We had like a tornado pass over North Dakota, so my internet has not been the best. So basically what I was talking about was the Astroworld incident, where 8 people had passed at the concert, 2 people had passed afterwards, for a total of 10 victims in total. And this was his apology and response to finding out that people had passed. I believe this was the night after, or
I just want to send out
night that it
prayers.
happened, or the night after. So sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you're good. Real quick. Okay, there we go.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need, I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, everyone to, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated, and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
Okay, real quick, one thing that stood out with that video the entire time, he's just rubbing his forehead. Like he's trying to remember like a rehearsed script or something. Sorry. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this doesn't look good.
No, you're good. I know damn well his PR team got mad at him and was like,
oh my God, this doesn't look good.
No, you're good. I know damn well his PR team got mad at him and was like, why the fuck did you post that? Because he didn't talk about this incident for like a whole month. And then it was December 9th that he went, I don't remember whose show it was, but he's a really famous guy. And he went, and I don't know if it was a podcast or a show, but he sat down to talk with him for that interview and get his side of the story out, where he was saying he had no idea, no clue, and they're just trying to make him out to be a bad person.
Oh,
but yeah, these pictures are all the victims. So I wanted to flash their pictures while he was speaking so you could understand the weight of his words better. Yeah. Because they don't carry any. It doesn't carry any weight. He's just rubbing his forehead being like, oh, my bad.
Yeah, it really looks like he's trying to remember something, or that he's just trying not to look at the camera and avoid making eye contact with it almost. Like he doesn't want to have to, thank you, like he doesn't want to have to take accountability, or he knows he's kind of bullshitting and trying to hide that. That's just my opinion.
And it's sad, too, because it's like that situation could have been 110% preventable. Like, 100%. I want to get off real quick, and I'm going to send you a video that I have saved. It'll take me like 2 seconds, but I want to send you this video so that you can show everybody what the crowd actually looked like. Okay. So I'll be right back. I'm going to drop.
Okay. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? Also, sorry, I have not been on a lot this weekend, or this week. I just, really needed to take a break, I think. Sometimes you need a break. I did hear Pastor Petty drop my name yesterday, though. Finally manned up enough to say my name with people around you. Still don't mean shit though, by the way, Petty. Just because you say my name doesn't mean your opinion is worth jack shit. Had to say that real quick. Because, all that speculating he be doing over there, he's gonna fucking pull a goddamn muscle the way he's reaching to try to make people out to be bad people. Oh, that's nice, Rico. Yeah, I unplugged this week and it just was really nice. I'm not gonna lie. And Mama couldn't do true crime on Thursday, so Aries and I figured we'd do it yesterday, but then I just was like, I need one more day.
You don't have to like big box me or anything, but yeah, I sent you just 3 videos, quick videos that you could show.
Were they saying get her up in that?
I believe so. And in that one, you can see the like crowd surge a lot better. You can see them move back and forth.
Yeah.
Another one of the videos that I had sent you was to show, I believe, them like screaming for help.
Before we keep going, I want to take it back to days before rodeo real quick. All the real rangers around here, you know what time it is, so get your section straight right now.
So yeah, I remember the context of that video now. So yes, that was why I had sent that to you. Get your section straight is what he told them. They're sitting there falling on top of each other. People are dying, and he said, "Get your section straight," because of the next song that he was gonna play, because they were gonna mosh harder.
Yeah. And then there's the last one.
I see somebody in the tree. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. Listen to the small boy right there hanging in the tree right there. I see somebody in the tree. Turn the lights on.
So that just shows you how close they were, and he can see how packed they were. Yeah, he knew.
Yeah, he knew. Well, and it's interesting because in that one clip, I swear they're screaming she's unalived too. Like, and they're not that far from the stage. Like, you would think people could have been able to like hear enough to keep the word going, and it's not like he would have listened at this point, I think, but
Yeah, there was a clip going around where it was the crowd, and then you could just hear like she's dead, like she's gone, and oh my god, it's watching the videos made me so claustrophobic, and it just made me want to cry for them because they couldn't get help.
Yeah, like that first clip I showed, the entire time I was watching it with you guys, I'm just thinking this is my hell. Like I wouldn't even like have wanted to be there at that point. Like I don't care if it's overcrowded or not. Like that to me is hell on earth, being that surrounded by people and
Mhm.
not being able to like move any fucking direction. Mm-mm. Nope, I could never.
Yeah, that's why there was a concert. I don't know if it was happening in Australia, but I know it wasn't here in America. And it was gonna happen, and they were advertising for it. And then everybody was saying, this is gonna be Astroworld like 2.0. And they actually ended up canceling it because of like the layout looked exactly how they had Astroworld. Like it had that cross too. They had it divided into sections. It was supposed to be huge. They were supposed to have a lot of people. And they ended up canceling it. I don't know what was the reason for canceling, but it did end up getting canceled. I remember.
Did you say something about a concert with Ariana Grande or something too, where she had something happen?
Yes, and so a lot of people want to defend Travis Scott, and to that I reply that when something had happened, because something can happen at your concert and it not be your fault, but you can still do something to try to not fix the situation, but help make the situation better.
Okay.
And so when the Manchester attack happened in the UK, um, Ariana Grande actually paid for all 22 funerals, and she went and visited people in the hospital that were injured.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's not confirmed. There's rumors that he did pay for the funerals. There's rumors that the funerals were paid for because because of the settlements. I'm not sure entirely what's true and what's not because there is a lot of speculation and it doesn't specify with the lawsuit. But as far as I can tell, Travis did not pay for their funerals.
And then I know yesterday you were telling me a story about a nurse who had gone. I don't. Did you talk about that earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Okay. Okay.
She was in the documentary. I'm not 100% sure about her name. I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie, but I do remember she was saying that she had just finished her nursing school and just got like her nursing license. So she was really excited to go celebrate. She was gonna go celebrate at Astroworld. And she was one of the ones that was in the crowd and she got knocked over. And you could see it in her face when she's talking about it that like she knows that she could have died that day. So like she even says like I fell over. I lost my balance and by the grace of God like somebody went and picked my hand up and they picked me out of the crowd and when she ended up getting out of it there was somebody. I don't know if he was standing towards the edge, but she tried pulling him out, pulled his legs up, and was doing like sternum rubs on him, and she ended up saving his life. And they're really good friends. It showed them in the documentary, them two hanging out. So there were some blessings in disguise. People were saved. People were there in the right time, in the right place. Um, when I was even looking over some like videos today to like show and possibly show, there was a lot of people that were posting about their experience and saying that like they got helped up and they don't know about like what if they didn't get helped up. It's the Astroworld documentary. It's on Netflix and it's by Trainwreck, so it should be at the very very top when you go to Netflix because it's brand new. So yeah, Astroworld was definitely something that could have been preventable, something that nobody wanted to take responsibility of, and it was tragic. It's sad.
I'm glad you went with that one this week because I think it's really important and you did a great job with that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched the documentary yet, but now I need to because I didn't even know there was a documentary out about it. So
I would say if you're an empath, be prepared to cry.
Oh.
It was hard. I was fighting them tears, dude, especially when his mom, Rudy's mom, was speaking and
Yeah.
she was saying, like, what am I supposed to tell my heart and my soul? And it just showed the shot of his sister, and she was just kind of like, I would call it dissociating.
Yeah.
Like, she was just staring off into the distance, and like she just had that look of remembering when, like, I think I could picture it. She was probably remembering when it happened and being told the news of it and reliving that whole day and stuff like that.
Yeah, having that guilt of like being, yeah, I get that. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense.
Yes, and Mama, you're right, because it is kind of good timing. A lot of people, especially nowadays, don't understand concert etiquette. I mean, I kind of definitely did it when I went to a concert. Like, I was 15 when I went to go see Black Veil Brides, and that was like my first kind of concert, and even that was crazy. And Black Veil Brides is not a crazy band.
I've never heard of them before. I'm not gonna lie.
I was super emo when I was a kid, so that's probably why you don't know of them.
I was too, but we had My Chemical Romance and fucking Green Day.
I was a new gen emo.
Oh, yeah. Times have definitely changed for concerts, right? I feel like it's always changing, though.
All remember when Travis Scott stopped his show because a kid stole his shoe, and he went and said, "Fuck that kid up, fuck him up," and
What?
had his crowd beat that kid up, and then they escorted that kid out of the crowd.
I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, he they stole his designer shoe. I didn't even notice. Thank you, Christina. I'm so sorry. I didn't even thank you whenever you gifted me. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Aries is like, we all remember. Everybody's like, what are you talking about?
Joyce is like, I don't know what you're talking about, girl, but go ahead. Yeah, he stopped the
alone,
show. You can literally Google it. He stopped his show. Thank you, Rico. To go and be like, go fuck that kid up. He stole my shoe. And so when Astroworld happened, a lot of people had brought that up too, and they were like, he could stop the fucking show for his shoe, but he can't stop it when there's 4 CPRs happening. Like,
It's a good fucking point, though. Like, I mean, damn.
I've seen people stop shows for less. Yeah.
My shoe, right? Like the fucking shoe. That was the fucking priority. People got their priorities mixed up. I'm telling you.
Him and Christina Yang. You're like, I don't know who that is, but okay.
I'm just sitting here pretending I'm cool at this point. I am too. This was a good one. I'm really happy Aries did it.
See, my people who watch Grays, they know what that means.
Oh, it's a great. Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Okay. I know. I don't know exactly what happened to her, but I know who you're talking about.
There's a plane crash, and freaking Meredith and Christina are best friends. And Meredith was like, "Where's Derek? Where's my sister?" And Christina's like, "Where's my shoe?"
Oh, Jesus Christ!
That's all she cares about. Oh my god!
Imagine though that being your priority after being in a fucking plane crash. Just give me my shoe. That's all I need.
Yeah, I mean, some people have different priorities, man. I liked yours though. I'm gonna have to listen to the first part when you put it on YouTube.
Oh yes, I will. I will definitely get it up on YouTube. It's definitely worth looking into more. It's one of those ones I've known about for a while, so it was kind of easy to put together and cover. I'm not gonna lie, I'm also sitting here working on my puzzle while I talk to you too.
Well, it's kind of like how I was talking about that other case of the other babysitter. Like, there's some cases we're all familiar with.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, some of them, like, people know about, but when you really dive into it, like, it's still intriguing to talk about because, like, I mean, the fact that nothing, even after her case has been talked about and stuff, the police still haven't reopened or re-looked into it or, even acted as if they are interested in trying to find out who unalived her. And that's sad because she deserves justice too.
Cops that do really great, and there's some cops that really drop the ball when it comes to investigating stuff.
Well, just be careful, Joyce, because like I said, she was in the Canadias. Fuck those police up.
You guys are supposed to be nice too. What the hell?
Right? I could victim blame them like that. Wait, what military was her husband involved in? South African? Okay. I was like, wait, did they say her husband was from Nigeria? I was about to say, Joyce, what are you not fucking telling us here? Sorry. Oh. Thank you, everybody, for all the gifts tonight and stuff. I hope y'all know I appreciate you very much.
Mallory has the best decorations ever. I remember one time when she was bringing home the chick painting. I love that. I love it. It's so cute.
Oh my gosh. The fucking dabbing bird. Like, the hell? I need to find more of them. I need more. The kitchen's a little off. It's cattywampus, isn't it? I need to fix that. Don't mind my cattywampus decor. Mama, you'll be here next week. Maybe. If she doesn't decide to take up residence in fucking Harry Potter's world.
I'm gonna get lost in Hogwarts.
Right? We're never gonna see Mama again. She's gonna run into platform 9 3/4 and be lost to us all. Right? I love my house. 2 stories, Mama. Don't push it with Mama. I think her brain would break.
That's half a story now.
Right? She'll be like, you only get half the story. Now you can wait till next week to get the rest of this fucking thing. God damn it, Garrett! Where's the rest of my puzzle? I know it's that fucking cat. I ain't never had this problem before.
Puzzle pieces or just hiding them.
I'm pretty sure I'm missing a couple puzzle pieces here. It's been bugging me because, like, the whole night I'm like, I know there's some missing. I know I'm not stupid. Yeah, I'm missing puzzle pieces. I got more holes than I got pieces. I'll make Mr. Mel find them for me. Kidding. I'm sure I'll find them tomorrow. They're probably like under the little thing back there and stuff.
She said if I got an acceptance letter, I would dip so quick you'd never see me again.
Right? I mean, I'm not surprised. I believe it. I'm gonna be like, fuck you all, bitches. I'm out of here. Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
My God, I can't stand the slang.
So fucking close to finishing this puzzle.
Clip that, Twinkles.
Clip that, Twinkles. Oh my God, she's not paying attention to anybody because she's working her puzzle. Bitch, yep. Okay, Ian. You ain't ever worked a fucking puzzle before? Bite me, Twinkles.
No.
I was about to say. I got pieces. I don't even know where they go.
You better get yourself in trouble.
It's okay. I'm always in trouble. At this point, honestly, I'm used to it. I heard Petty drop my name yesterday, thinking that was gonna mean something. Bitch, you still can't talk to me. Your opinion ain't shit. Just saying. Can't have a civilized conversation with me? You ain't shit.
His voice goes so high, I can't even mimic it myself.
What you talking about over there? Yes. Sorry, I had to.
Oh my god.
Can't. I fucking can't. He gets into a special octave. And I will agree with you there. Oh my goodness, I am missing. Hold on, I got one piece left I can place. Where the fuck did you go, bitch? Right there? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces. Hi, everybody. Welcome. God, please let me find the pieces. It's gonna drive me nuts if I can't.
Not the book nooks. Those are the best.
Here's one. The what nugs?
The book nooks.
Oh, book nooks. Okay. It's like buck. I thought you said butt nugs. I was like, are you talking about poop?
No.
What the fuck are we talking about? Butt nuggets.
Nasty.
I mean, I think
Those are eggs.
I think
Chicken's butt nuggets.
Right?
Those
I
are
was about to
eggs.
say, I think my chickens every day for their little butt nuggets. In the name of the Father, Son, and the chicken butt nuggets.
Yeah, there's this one lady that I watch and she collects her eggs, but she'll always wear these like they're like chicken socks kind of. And she'll kick the door and be like, butt nuggets, butt nuggets.
Butt nuggets. Oh, okie dokie. I'm only missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, the problem is Garrett likes to pick things up with his paws, and then he'll bring them all around the place like he just don't care because he really doesn't care. And then I can't find it. So here we are. Here we are.
Guess check your hair.
Kez, I'm not that unhygienic. Okay? Shut the fuck up, Kez.
Well, now she gets a 5-second mute.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna have to order more. No, I got it muted. Not the 2K to drop Aries. We're lucrative over here. We don't fuck around.
Petty like petty. I'll drop before they get the chance.
Right? Alright. I think I'm gonna get off here for the night. And I will be on tomorrow, I'm sure. But I think I'm gonna go.
All right.
Continue my rest a little bit more.
Good night. Bye.
Bye. Everybody have a good night. True crime next week. Ooh, there's the piece. True crime next week will resume on. The fuck did this come from? The fuck does it go? There it is. True crime will resume on Thursday next week. So we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming. Hope everybody has a good night, and I love you all very much. Bye.